Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Sammies Summer Series virtual event. I'm James Christian Blockwood, Executive Vice President at the Partnership for Public Service, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's conversation. With these 6 virtual events to be held over the coming weeks, we aim to elevate more of the incredible accomplishments of this year's Sammies finalists. Our 30 finalists, both individuals and teams, represent the breadth of important work being done across government to make all of our lives just a little bit better. In these events, we'll hear about how government is using technology to drive change. We'll meet some of the remarkable individuals leading the charge in their agencies, and we'll explore America's place in the world. Today, though, we're going to meet 2 of the members of the Architect of the Capitol team, honored as finalists for the Management Excellence Award. Valerie Hasbury is the Chief Security Officer for the Architect of the Capitol, and Jim Kaufman oversees the team that cares for the Capitol grounds, the Arboretum. And so I would like to welcome both of you and thank you for your service. As the events of January 6th come back into focus for the American people, especially right now in this moment, there's no better time to talk with these dedicated public servants who are devoted to caring for the United States Capitol. Valerie, Jim, their co-nominee Mark Reed, and their teams faced the daunting task of restoring the Capitol after January 6th, while finishing preparations for the inauguration on January 20th. Just 2 weeks to help recover from a historic attack that did extensive damage to many parts of the Capitol grounds. But since we have them here, let's hear it from them directly. And let's start by asking both of them, why were you drawn to working at the Capitol to begin with? And Valerie, why don't we start with you?
Good afternoon, and thank you. I was first made aware of the Architect of the Capitol when I was in the United States Air Force and attended a retirement ceremony. And tradition is they present a flag at those ceremonies, and the flag certificate, the flag was flown above the Capitol, and it was signed by the Architect of the Capitol. That was my first exposure to the Architect of the Capitol. I did some additional research. I was drawn to the fact that they care for this historic campus and provide service to the legislative branch. I was fortunate that when I began my preparations to retire from the Air Force, a position was open within the Architect, which I saw as a fortuitous event. And I was also fortunate that I was selected to work with the Architect of the Capitol. And so that allowed me to continue serving the American public, the American people, and it has been an exceptional experience.
Jim, same question.
I think I am a horticulturist by trade, and I was fortunate enough to come into the position as a horticulture manager for the United States Botanic Garden back in 2009. And that was really my first introduction to the Architect of the Capitol. And soon enough through the years, I was able to work my way over to Capitol grounds and Arboretum and really be able to take in a position that has I've certainly have become and is very fond of, in that I work with a group that our work leaves a lasting impression on the physical footprint of the Capitol grounds, something that goes back for nearly 200 years on the grounds itself. So that's why I'm here and why we're here.
Yeah, thank you so much to both of you. Let me ask again, since we're kind of on the backdrop of January 6th, how did that day unfold from your perspective?
For me, especially with my team, with the rest of the staff of the Architect of the Capitol, and being in the forefront, operating and maintaining the facilities and the grounds, we were able to see um, from the initial onset the arrival of large crowds of people. Um, some of us viewed that from the actual grounds and facilities on campus. Some viewed it from dispersed locations where we were operating from and watched the events unfold on uh, national news. Um, the concern, of course, was for the architect of the Capitol staff that was in the forefront of some of those facilities, um, trying to assist where they could. And it was also watching it unfold for those who weren't here, the trauma of seeing what was happening on the grounds, um, the concern for everyone that was here on campus that day, and for the government and what would happen. And so it was, for all intents and purposes, as you've heard from different people speaking on January 6th, a very traumatic event, very stressful event, that the team was able, even those experiencing it firsthand, um, there were valiant efforts throughout that day to provide assistance, whether it was water for people to wash out their eyes, providing shelter for staff that needed safe places to harbor, to the teams that very quickly came out and restored the facilities and the meeting chambers so that government could continue.
Yeah, Jim, same question. We're really curious to hear your perspective on how things unfolded as well.
We were fortunate to have a handful of supervisors at some remote sites around campus. And our primary function in having the employees there during that time was being prepared to assess what could be coming on. And we were in a position of assessing for potential trash and maybe some graffiti, and how we would respond for that later that evening or that the following day. And certainly that grew from watching events unfold to communicating with our folks and getting them out and getting verification that they arrived home safely. Watching things unfold on TV was incredibly stressful for everyone. And that is our work, our pride. That's what we do every day. And we're watching it on TV getting destroyed. So that evening took a whole other turn later on in how we were going to respond come January 7th.
Yeah, just a powerful moment indeed, and very happy that you were able to keep your calm and see everything through. Jim, you oversee the Capitol grounds, the Arboretum. Your team is used to dealing with the aftermath of major events, but this, obviously, as explained by both of you, is totally different. How did you first begin to approach the cleanup on the grounds, on the Capitol grounds?
Well, we started strategizing as the events were still unfolding. We met with my management team, started discussing strategies, and we were able to assess that I would get in there first thing early the next morning before daylight, and I was going to physically assess the grounds myself, whereas the teams were going to stand by right off site. That allowed us to really start to get an idea of what the grounds looked like and assess damage, assess the requirements needed to clean up and restore the areas. And then we had to start taking into consideration all COVID precautions as well. So we were still at the height of the pandemic. We all have face masks on. And how are we going to do this? how are we going to bring together a number of people who would look for, largely we were working in different set teams. So now we're bringing together people, and how are we going to do this to be able to do it safely and efficiently. And once we determined that the area was safe to re-enter, we had to meet with all of our teams to start to orient them on this is not the normal cleanup. We're not going in after a parade or a demonstration or concert, whatever it may be, and cleaning up trash. Simple things that you never really think about before. Don't use a leaf blower because the tear gas dust might blow up. Don't touch your face mask because you might have debris on your hands. Use the pick sticks. Going around any kind of bloodborne pathogens, bodily fluids, things along those lines. Be on the alert on it. And then really going through and how do we assess what's hazardous material and what's not, and going through and working with Capitol Police to mitigate things along those lines. Simple things going out there. We're picking up a whole lot of trash. We're loading it in. Be sure that when you see the American flag, you're folding it and putting it in the golf cart with you. And all of our employees were very, very respectful and very emotional all the way through, like dedicated. Every employee that we needed, anybody, they all showed up that next day after watching everything going on and how terrifying that is. They all showed up and they all were there waiting to get going, and we did it. And that's the resiliency in our teams, and it shows through not just in the Capitol Grounds and Arboretum team, but the whole AOC team. And no matter what it is, our crews are there and we take care of it. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah, I very much appreciate you and your entire team. And, thank you for painting such a vivid picture of what that was like. You're doing more than just a cleanup. You're actually doing this in the face of an ongoing pandemic, which adds a layer of complexity. Now, Valerie, you oversee security for the architect of the Capitol. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and how you respond to unexpected events, obviously including the one that we faced following January 6th?
Yes, so the Office of the Chief Security Officer, we have a very varied portfolio. On a day-to-day basis, we provide operations and maintenance for the facilities and grounds that support the United States Capitol Police. We provide facility project support for physical security elements across the campus in support of the Capitol Police and the Capitol Police Board. And we also, within the AOC, we provide internal security support, including personnel suitability, badging to bring new employees and current employees to make sure they're badged. But we also provide support with continuity of operations, resilience, which you've heard a lot about today, for an emergency management support for the agency writ large. Part of our responsibility is to provide that emergency support. We do that through a series of contracts. We were called upon to use those contracts starting on January 6th and all the way through the follow-on events, including the inauguration. Jim mentioned bloodborne pathogens. One of our contracting capabilities is we were able to call in specialized contractors to help remove bloodborne pathogens within the Capitol building. One of the major issues was, as the events were unfolding, the team was looking at what would Capitol Police need as far as additional physical security measures. So one of the actions that we took starting on January 6th and the days to follow was bringing in additional anti-climb fencing to protect the perimeter of the campus and ensure the staff that was coming on campus to work would be safe. We partner, as Jim mentioned, it is a team effort. So as we're supporting the Capitol Police and the Capitol Police Board, we have support from the contracting office within the architect of the Capitol, the jurisdictions, especially including Capitol Grounds and Arboretum, who provide outstanding support, as do all the jurisdictions. And so there's a wide range of things that we do on a day-to-day basis, but also to be prepared to respond to those unexpected events.
A lot of security challenges and things to manage through, and certainly you and the team did that very well. Jim, there was time constraints, at least I would imagine there were. Was that the biggest challenge you faced in needing to be prepared and ready for inauguration, or was it something else?
One thing that I know with our team is we meet deadlines and we get it done. The inauguration was going to happen one way or the other, and we all knew it. I don't think I had that deadline as a bigger priority. It was, from my standpoint, it was the people. For a lot of us at least on my team that day, the day after, we worked, most folks worked a normal tour of duty that day. We worked hard and it wasn't going anywhere. We had plenty of work in front of us. So we knew it was going to take us several days to do. There was no sense in rushing through and working through people that we were all emotionally spent. Picking up the trash and going through, it's a lot of physical work, yes. However, it was the emotional toll. You could see it in everybody's face. You could see it in their eyes. We were done. We were spent. And we had to regroup the next day and the day after that. And little by little, it was getting done. And we were doing it strategically. We were doing it safely. And I think everybody really appreciated that. And I was certainly grateful to have so many people continue to push through every day after that and continue to clean up whatever it needed to be.
Yeah, true dedication from public servants, certainly at its best. Valerie, what does the architect of the Capitol do to prepare for the inauguration and a transition of power? That's already a significant security event. Probably one of the gifts of our democracy is a successful and peaceful transfer of power. What was different as far as the inauguration in 2021 as it relates to security?
Perhaps the biggest difference was the additional security. As you note, it's already an intense preparation cycle. But after January 6th, the architect of the Capitol did have that additional time constraint overall because the inaugural stands were actually damaged and destroyed. So the team had to rally to get the stands back on track and complete before the inauguration. At the same time, working repairs to the facilities so that they could be used as they would normally be used for the inauguration. It was the additional security. How do you find, with all of the focus, how do you find the additional fencing? How do you find, how do you deal with the additional challenges of getting people into the facilities onto campus? And so that presented a significant challenge. It was a wholesale review of all of the requirements for the inauguration, what had to change, everything from signage. How do you adjust the seating? How do you adjust security parameters as far as bringing people in, working with Capitol Police and all of the other law enforcement agencies? And for us, there was also, as an agency, how do you provide support for the National Guard forces that came onto campus to augment and support the security functions of the Capitol Police? providing space for them, providing support as they were around the campus. Something as simple as, the portable toilets that have to come in for the inauguration. How do you actually make sure all of those support components can be there? And as Jim stated, you're doing this while trying to make sure you're taking care of the actual AOC staff that have been working hard even before January 6th and now have the additional pressure of redoing or and enhancing things to ensure that on inauguration day, everything that we were responsible for was flawless. And again, as Jim mentioned, the team rose to the challenge and performed exceptionally well.
Yeah, both you and Jim have mentioned people, whether it's the staff or whether it's the people of this country. That has been central in your responses. Valerie, let's start with you, and I'm going to ask the same question, Jim. But what has it meant to you personally to have had such a direct role in repairing the Capitol and ensuring the safety of those who visit it?
For me, having, and I get a little emotional, so please excuse me, having served in the military, I never thought some of those skills that I learned within the military that normally applied when we were supporting another nation, trying to maintain a democracy, that I would use some of those same skill sets for the United States Capitol. And so for me, the teamwork that that I counted on in the military, that I witnessed on a day-to-day basis within the architect of the Capitol, to see that tested and the strength of the individual AOC staff members, but the team as a whole, to see how they came together, not only on the 6th, but in the follow-up to support restoring this magnificent facility, this magnificent campus. It makes you proud. It makes you have a deeper appreciation of what it means to be an American, what it means to be a member of an outstanding team that's capable of not only performing day to day, but shows their ability to perform under extreme pressure with grace, with professionalism, and again, with the supportive nature for each other. And that has been especially meaningful to me.
And you have a lot to be proud of your military service as well. Jim, same question to you. What does it mean to you personally? You've obviously had a direct role in repairing the Capitol, and importantly, sure others can visit it safely. So to you, same question.
I think personally, it's that point where I had said, part of being here is my ability to leave a lasting impression on the physical part of the Capitol grounds. And that we certainly did the days afterwards. But I think probably most importantly from a broad perspective is that our part of our mission, obviously we serve Congress and we make sure Congress is able to do their job, and we executed that perfectly. But part of it also is providing memories for people. And with our jurisdiction of maintaining the exterior grounds, anybody and everybody who comes to the campus enters our ground, our work first before they go into any building. They're our customers. They see their first impressions of the Capitol Hill are set by our team. what does the landscape look like? And returning the Capitol and the grounds to a little bit of sense of normalcy was very, very important. And we did that. Regardless if there's a big security fence going around it and the National Guard standing out there, the National Guard is coming here from all over the country. And we want to make sure that they're comfortable. And our crews were still out there, making sure that the areas are clean, making sure that the landscape is safe, making sure that we're able to help out with support services for the Guard. And all that sense of normalcy. Even though people don't see us, we like to work behind the scenes, and that's what we like to do. If things go normal and things go the way how they should, that means we did our job right and we did it well, and that continues to this day.
Well, let me again say, job well done. There may be a number of people who are learning by being with us today about all of the efforts that you and your team have done. And there may be many that are just unaware. And so let me just again, just say thank you for all of that work that you're doing. Government itself continues to seek improvement and does a fairly good job of doing that in some cases, especially when they plan for it. What have you changed in how you approach it as a result of January 6th? Valerie, let's start with you.
I think the biggest change for us in my office working security, a lot of what we do, people will never know or see. Uh, and in order to be effective, they can't know. One of the biggest changes for our team has been, how do you better communicate not only within AOC, but with our partners on the Capitol Police Board? How do we better communicate security without providing details that would compromise that security, but enough detail to help people feel safe when they return to campus after January 6th. So that has been one of the biggest changes that we've had to adapt to. And the other is a renewed focus on looking at technology, looking at how we interact, um, so we don't impact what our visitors see. They still come to a campus that's awe-inspiring and open, but we know that we've worked with our partners to take measures to ensure their safety, not only of the visitors, but the staff that work here on a day-to-day basis.
Excellent. Jim, same question to you.
Oh, one of the things I think is a renewed look at safety and security within our crews. We have crews spread out nearly 300 acres all over the Capitol grounds, and our crews are aware of their surroundings, and it's a constant reinforcement to the teams to make sure that they are aware of their surroundings, that they have their phones on, that they're being able to capture emails and text messages in the event of an emergency. But also making sure that they feel a bit empowered, and I think they do even more now, in helping out the Capitol Police and being an extra set of eyes and ears. We see packages all over the place, and our crews are not shy about calling in a suspicious package to the police. So we see a lot of these little things that our crews are doing to assist out in just keeping each other safe, as well as keeping the general public and assisting out however they can in supporting the police in those matters.
Excellent. And we know that the Capitol is a symbolic place. How does it feel to have people back and visiting the Capitol now? Jim, I'll ask you first, and then Valerie, I'll ask you the same question.
It was, personally, I love it. People get to see our work. That's just an awesome thrill. I especially love it when I'm walking the campus and I see people taking pictures of our trees and not the building. You know how proud that makes me. So I think that's a personal thing of really enjoying seeing visitors coming back and enjoying just our awe-inspiring landscape. But it was very interesting and very telling the months after, as the security fence came down. How does that make our crews feel? And the feelings varied very much on a wide range, but it was a challenge. People were scared, and to a sense, some people still may be hesitant. And it does change the aspect, even when we talk to employees as they're coming on. We want them to be excited about working at the Capitol campus and looking at all the visitors coming through. But we also talk to them about being aware of all the visitors around them and what that means, whether it's from a safety or a security standpoint as well. So it's definitely a different environment now.
Yeah, true passion for the mission coming out there. Valerie, same question to you. How does it feel to have people back and visiting the Capitol now?
Like Jim said, it's a mix. I think we can all remember the first time we visited the Capitol, and I'll speak for myself, walking in to the rotunda and the awe you felt just looking around at the history, and knowing that people are able to see that again in person, and that we help make that possible. It's a testament to why we're here as the architect of the Capitol, and that's a great feeling. From a security perspective, as Jim noted, um, we recognize that January 6th was a traumatic event. The post event trauma still exists. And so, how do you balance having the people be able to experience this fantastic campus, um, have them feel secure, but also have the staff feel secure that people are coming back in? It is a balancing act. It's one that we make sure we're aware of and addressing on a daily basis. But as Jim said, just from the perspective of the architect of the Capitol being able to share these facilities and grounds with the American public and with the world again, it is a great feeling.
That's excellent. And clearly, both of you are some of the best that we have in our government. And being recognized as a Sammies finalist is already a major accomplishment in and of itself. But what does it mean to you in this moment to be recognized as a Sammies finalist? And starting with you, Valerie.
It's very, very humbling. When I was first approached about the nomination, um, again, we just represent the fantastic teams that are out there doing the work day in and day out, and to be able to represent them in this type of forum, it's an honor and a privilege, and one that I'll never forget. And it's truly, um, you just want to represent them well, because you know the entire team, you're out there representing them and the outstanding work that they do. And the fact that, again, the three of us were nominated to represent our teams and the agency, it's one of the major events of my life. Unforgettable.
Jim, same question to you. What does it mean to you to be recognized as a Sammies finalist?
Well, Val said it eloquently, and it really is. Val, Mark, and I are we're just the folks here on the screen, but it takes a whole village. It takes everybody working together. The crews inside the building that suffered through during the events and then still got everything together later that night. That's incredible. And the people outside who got everything together, saw it all unfold, and still came to work the next day and able to do that. That fills me with so much pride. And no matter what the situation is, it's just really neat to be a part of a team that we get it done. No matter what if it's a 3-foot snowstorm out there, we're getting it all done. And it's all of our crews, the same people. We're all doing it, and we're all doing it behind the scenes. And that's what is really spectacular about it, because when that snow is cleared off or the inauguration goes, everything goes as planned. That means the AOC did the job the right way and did it well and executed mission.
I think it's just incredible that both of you acknowledge the teamwork needed to make your work happen. And that just is a mark of you both being just as humble as you are heroic. We can all learn a lot from both of you. What do you want other public service? And Valerie, what with you?
I think that the most important thing for me, for people to understand about public service, is the joy and the pride that being part of an organization that provides a service to the American public is unmatched. As you can tell from Jim, and hopefully from some of my comments, but I think we represent the agency as a whole. Everyone here, we come in day after day knowing and hoping that the work that we do provides those memorable experiences, makes someone who's coming here on a field trip for their school, someone who's visiting the Capitol for the first time, that public service, it gives you that sense of pride that I think is unmatched. Nothing wrong with working for a corporation, but for me, and one of the reasons I wanted to continue working in public service, is just the sense of pride and fulfillment that you're an integral part that's supporting government, supporting the continued functioning of this nation, and to me, it can't be matched.
Absolutely. And Jim, same question to you. What do you want others to know about public service?
For me, it's been an incredibly rewarding field to be in, and has grown more substantial over time. Folks that are part of government service, it's a special job, and it's really kind of awesome, because when people are working for the federal government, they know that there's a lot to it, and their work is going to accomplish a very important mission one way or the other, because it goes on to something that impacts the country or the world in some cases. So no matter what that position is, if it's a behind the scenes administrative or contracting officer, somebody back in those types of roles are providing desperately needed support for a program that, in this case, January 6th, had to meet mission. And it's every role was critical out there, not just the people on the front lines, but people in the supporting roles. And everything with government service is like that. It's making a difference, no matter what agency. You're playing a pivotal role in a major mission accomplishment.
That's excellent. And my final question to both of you, Jim, I'm going to start with you and then go to Valerie, it is no doubt that you've had an impact, and it will certainly be a lasting one. Is there anything that you want to share, communicate with the team that you've worked with and all of your colleagues at the Architect of the Capitol? Jim, over to you.
It really, again, it gets back to the teamwork. I am so proud to be just one cog in the wheel that keeps this place moving and keeps Congress going. It is a really, really huge privilege to work here. Our team, I could never be more proud of everyone on the Capitol grounds and Arboretum team. We have so many different talents from all over that no matter what it is, they do make a difference. And I am very appreciative of that. And we also have to say, go make sure you vote for the Sammies in the top 6.
That's right. Valerie, same question. Is there any message that you'd like to share with your colleagues at the Architect of the Capitol?
Yeah, echo Jim's comments for my Office of the Chief Security Office team. Couldn't be more proud of not only their actions leading up to January 6th, on January 6th and after, but day in and day out, the hard work they put in. I can't say thank you enough for the work that they do. And then for the AOC team writ large, it's the same. Everyone comes in every day with a can-do attitude. And you can't, that attitude, that professionalism, again, immeasurable what they can accomplish with that. And I think they've shown it. They continue to show it. I'm very appreciative and thankful of everything they do day in and day out. Again, my team and the AOC team as a whole.
Valerie, Jim, thank you so much for this fascinating conversation. You are truly an example of government at its best. Thank you for all of your important work to preserve the heart of our nation's democracy. And I also want to thank everyone who joined us today for this conversation. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our next conversation in the Service to America Medals Summer Series, and we hope to see you again then. If you want to learn more about the Sammies and this year's honorees, please visit servicetoamericamedals.org. And while you're there, cast a vote for your favorite story in our People's Choice contest. And you can vote you can vote once a day. The winner will be announced in just a few weeks. And for now, I just want to thank Valerie and Jim for their service and thank all of you for watching. And I hope you all have a good day.